Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, this is kind of shocking. You all know that Disney has been planning a live-action version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's had some controversy, starting off with them casting Rachel Zegler as Snow White when she's a Hispanic actress. And, I usually don't have a problem with race swapping, unless race is specific to the character, or it's someone like Morticia Addams who is, supposed to be white. It doesn't really make any sense to change things like that when there's a million other characters that you can race swap and it doesn't matter. But there's some, it's kind of specific, and Snow White, it's even in her name. So it didn't make any sense to me. I thought, fine, whatever. Then they started talking about the dwarves, and Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones got all upset because he felt that they were basically being some sort of stereotype that was insulting, that they were like living in caves or something. I don't know what idea he has, because he apparently hasn't seen the film. They don't live in caves. But he kicked up a stink, so then Disney got scared and they fired all the dwarves and basically brought in other actors, and they were apparently going to be playing what was now described as magical creatures. And people are like, oh God, what's that going to look like? And then we start to get photos sneaked out from the set. And indeed, there's one dwarf and then 6 other people of various sizes and colours who just look like a bunch of hippies at like a fair or something. I just was looking at it like people were just laughing at it and didn't make any sense. And then there were rumours that they were going to be delaying the film, that Rachel Zegler was bad-mouthing the film, saying she didn't like the original film, she didn't like Snow White, that that Snow White wasn't going to be interested in love, that she was only going to be interested in becoming a leader, and just so much change. And the idea of doing a live-action version of a classic cartoon that people love is to stick to the original idea and just make it real so people can finally see it in the real world, sort of thing. But it's like they were doing a reboot, and it was just a mess. And then there was talk that they were going to push it back a year, and that they were going to reshoot it all, and the Phantom Menace people, the usual suspects, were all crowing that they'd won and that they were changing the film and everything, that Rachel Zegler had been fired and all this stuff, and they were recasting someone else. And I thought, they're just making this up. They got to make up stories, to feed their base, and that, like, the whole Kathleen Kennedy being fired for the 20th time, and Alex Kurtzman being fired for the 50th time, and, this show being deleted or cancelled or whatever. They're the same stories that get regurgitated, and I thought, they're just making up stories about it being recast and about it being delayed and all that. And then I found out today that sounds like most of it's true. The film has been delayed from March 2024 to March 2025. Now, that may be because of the writer's strike, but it also an actor's strike, of course. But it may also be because they actually want to reshoot, because my understanding was they'd finished shooting the film, and they should have been able to release it. That's why it was so soon, only March next year. But they pushed it back a year, not just because of the strikes, but because they apparently wanted to reshoot. Now, have they gotten rid of Rachel Zegler? I don't know. But the most shocking thing was I saw an article in Variety, and they actually had a picture of Rachel Zegler surrounded by the dwarves. And they're all CGI dwarves, and they look like the dwarves from the cartoon. Like, literally, they look like cartoon characters. And I'm like, I can't believe that. At first I thought it was a fan art, and then I thought it was just fake. And then I actually looked, and this was in Variety, and this is apparently an official photo from Disney. And I'm like, so they've decided to get rid of all those actors, which means they're going to have to reshoot so much footage, because she's supposed to be talking to dwarves, and they're down there. The other people are all up here, so it's not like they can just reuse the same footage and just replace the characters with CGI characters, because they have to change the eye lines and restage everything. So they're going to have to reshoot like pretty much the whole film. So it looks like those rumours are right, that they are actually planning to do considerable reshoots, and they've actually changed the characters for a third time. They robbed, these dwarves out of these roles, because they could have had real dwarves playing, the dwarves just with makeup. And instead, we've got like CGI characters now. So what a mess. And I'm just shocked that this is all true. I saw the articles and the things. I didn't pay any attention to it then it's been delayed because of, the writer's strike, and they're not reshooting anything. They're not changing anything. They've got their vision. They've got their idea. They're doing that. They don't care what you think. A lot of people don't care. Some people do care though, because a lot of people love the classic film and they want to see a live action version of it that resembles the original, because that's kind of the point. You love it as a cartoon, but you just want to imagine it in the real world and see it for real. And when you do something like that, you don't change it. If you're going to do a reboot, you do that later. And you always can. Like, they've got these properties forever. They can't just keep re-releasing the original over and over again. They do need to make different versions, like live action versions, reboots, stuff like that. And they all have their place, but you know, they have to be in order. You do your live actions first, and then you do your reboots and you do the changes. Because once you've established the original and given people, the fans, what they want, you can experiment and look for different audiences and do different versions for them with the comfort of having the original. So yeah, it's just a mess, and I'm just really shocked. I can't believe that's an official picture, but it is. So I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.